Bernie Sanders lashes out at the Democratic Party.
We will have the Democratic establishment supporting Hillary Clinton, but you know what? I'd rather have these guys than the Democratic establishment.
Hillary Clinton lashes out at Donald Trump.
He is temperamentally unfit to hold an office that requires knowledge, stability, and immense responsibility.
And Donald Trump lashes out at the media.
I've watched you on television. You're a real beauty.
As the nation's largest state gets ready to vote, the candidates get vocal. Plus what you need to know about measles after a new outbreak here in Arizona. Tonight, verbal punches and public health. It's all part of Politics Unplugged.
And good evening. Welcome to Politics Unplugged. I'm political editor Dennis Welch, and we start tonight with presidential politics and specifically that final contest for the race for the Democratic nomination. And joining us now is Arizona Senator Katie Hobbs, a supporter of Hillary Clinton, who is authorized to speak on behalf of the campaign here in Arizona. And we got to talk about the big primary competition coming up on Tuesday, specifically California, the big prize that night. What do you expect is going to happen?
Well, I expect that Hillary Clinton will clinch the nomination, and we can finally move forward as a unified party to win the presidency in 2016. And now,
some recent polls have showed that race has really tightened up. I'm talking about an NBC Wall Street Journal poll here that shows it's about 49-47 with Hillary Clinton holding a slim lead. It's a lot different than it was a few weeks ago, a couple months ago, where Hillary was holding double-digit leads over Bernie Sanders. I mean, what does that say about her as a candidate?
Well, I think that, you know, she is the strongest candidate in this race. And I think no matter what happens in terms of the results, she will get the delegates she needs to clinch the nomination on Tuesday.
But one thing that has been consistent throughout this campaign is that it shows that Mrs. Clinton, former Secretary Clinton, has not been really connecting with younger voters out there. Why do you think this is such a problem, and is it going to hurt her should she win and wrap up the nomination as expected?
Right. Well, I think that Senator Sanders is bringing in younger voters into the party, and that's a good thing. And I think that what Hillary Clinton has been consistent on is saying, I know that you're not with me yet, but I'm with you, and she will continue to demonstrate that. I think once this primary is over, we need to work to keep those voters in the Democratic fold.
Yeah, because I covered a lot of the Bernie Sanders rallies here in Arizona, as well as the Clinton when she came here, and I talked to a lot of voters, and there was a big difference between the two sides, where the Hillary Clinton supporters would say, yeah, we like Bernie Sanders a lot. He seems like a fine guy. But over at the Bernie Sanders rallies, I was talking to them about Hillary Clinton. They said, we don't like her at all. We don't trust her. We think she's dishonest. There's no way we're going to vote for her. What's the difference there? Why is there such a big disconnect there?
Well, I think that Bernie Sanders is bringing in new voters that haven't necessarily participated in the electoral process before. You know, I was on the Hillary Clinton side in 2008, so I was on the other side of this equation, and it was hard. But when the alternative is Donald Trump, those people are either going to vote for Hillary or they're going to stay home. So, you know, I think it's an issue, and we need to definitely work on it. But I think ultimately we're going to prevail in this election.
Now, a lot of party insiders, a lot of journalists are saying this is effectively going to be over, this race for the Democratic nomination come Tuesday night. Wednesday morning, now Mr. Sanders does not think so at all. Here's a little bit of what he had to say. Let's take a listen.
There's been some discussion that some of the media is going to say the campaign is over, she is the nominee. On Tuesday night after the votes come in from New Jersey. That's not accurate. I don't think the DNC thinks that's accurate.
So what's going to happen on Wednesday? Is he going to carry this all the way through to the convention?
You know, I can't speak for what he's going to decide to do, but mathematically, Clinton needs 71 delegates to clinch the nomination. There's no way she comes out of Tuesday without those 71 delegates.
But is there a fear, though, I mean, even if she barely squeaks out a victory, let's say, in particularly California, that she is not going into the general election with a lot of momentum, unlike Mr. Trump, who wrapped up this nomination quite a while ago? Well,
you know, here's the thing. Everything bad that you can ever say about Hillary Clinton has already been said. She's been vetted for the past over 20 years. So Donald Trump has nowhere to go but down, because we keep seeing every day the awful things he's saying in the media. It boggles my mind that he's the nominee. So
people have been saying that for months about Donald Trump. They keep saying, well, he said this, he's going to go down now. He offends this group, he offends that group. I mean, at some point, you know, you got to start asking the question, like, is it possible that just nothing sticks to this guy, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, that it is possible, and you know, a lot sticks to Hillary Clinton that doesn't deserve to stick to her. But honestly, I think when you see them in a head-to-head matchup, the experience, the qualifications, there's no question that she's the most qualified.
And again, Mr. Sanders says he's going to take this fight all the way through the convention. Now, former Secretary Clinton says that's not the case at all. She seems very confident that she's going to be taking on Mr. Trump. Let's take a listen to a little bit of what she had to say about this issue.
Our campaigns have been reaching out to one another. We will continue to do that. And once the primaries are over, as of next Tuesday, we will begin talking in more detail about what we can do to unify the party.
Is she going to be able to get Democrats united, working together, moving forward if she wraps this nomination up?
I think so. And I think at some point, Senator Sanders has to realize that the more he continues to try to drag this out, the more he helps Donald Trump in the general election. So he has smart people surrounding him. He's got to realize that at some point, mathematically, he's not going to win.
And is she going to be able to convince those Bernie Sanders voters, those new voters that you were talking about just coming into the process, that she's going to represent their best interest? Because as I was saying right now, just from anecdotal evidence of me covering some of the rallies here, they don't think that she represents them at all right now.
Yeah, and I understand that, and I think there's a lot of us that are working to help bridge that gap. And I think message-wise, she is talking to those voters. And I think that Senator Sanders can do a lot to help bridge that gap by the tone he takes, after the primaries on Tuesday.
And let's talk a little bit then, too, with Donald Trump really kind of being a game changer in politics, maybe reshuffling the national map for presidential politics. Is the eventual Democratic nominee going to be able to win Arizona? It hasn't been done since 1996, and it's only been done twice since 1948. We're talking about Harry Truman back in 48. Bill Clinton in 1996 when he won in a landslide. Can Arizona go blue this year?
I think so, absolutely. I think Donald Trump being at the top of the Republican ticket puts everything on the map. It's a game changer across the board, and not just for presidential politics, but down the ballot as well. All
right, thanks a lot. Thanks for stopping by. We'll see you here soon, but we're going to have to take a quick break because we still have lots more to come on Politics Unplugged. Still ahead. Forget the other candidates. Donald Trump has some different opponents to trounce first.
You keep calling us the dishonest press, the disgusting press.
Generally speaking, that's 100% true. Go ahead.
Donald Trump and the free press, still ahead. And what you need to know to keep your family healthy as Arizona sees an outbreak of the measles. Next.
All new, actress Jane Lynch is challenging Steve to the ultimate game night.
Jazz hands!
Cheated! Then get over your ex-girlfriend with a new one, or 4. Monday at 2 on Free TV. Next, Dr. Phil. Her daughter lives on the streets.
You wanted to come home and you said no.
You're out there because I messed up. I understand that you screwed my brain up. I'm psychotic now, dude.
Monday at 3 on Free TV.
As many as 440,000 patients die every year from medical mistakes. It's the 3rd leading cause of death. If you suspect that you or a loved one have been harmed by a medical mistake, call Goldberg and Osborne.
Show her you remember. The Jewelry Exchange has thousands of anniversary bands. Compare Tiffany's 1-carat bands for $7,300 with ours for $1,890. Half-carat bands are $249. 2-carat micro pavé $799. The Jewelry Exchange, family owned.
Do you want to erase your bills by filing for bankruptcy, stop wage garnishments, and harassing phone calls? We accept most cases with 0 money down. I'm Sandra Oswald. Make the smart call, 602-225-2222. Call now.
Hello, CenturyLink. How can I help you?
Hi. I just moved, and I transferred my internet, but now it's really slow.
Sounds like you moved into one of our slow zones.
Is there anything that I can do? Hello?
You could switch to Cox.
I'm sorry?
You could switch to Cox.
Only Cox offers the same fast speeds everywhere. Get Cox high-speed internet starting at $19.99 a month.
Hi, I'm Todd Sanders with the Greater Phoenix Chamber of Commerce. Economic development is critical to Arizona. We're uniting the Valley's top business leaders to help restore our economy. Make an investment in your business. Join the Chamber today.
How fast are Allegra gel caps? Relief before the movie starts. Fast.
I didn't know you got a cat. Fast.
For allergy symptoms, Allegra is the fastest non-drowsy relief you can buy.
We're going out in an hour. Fast.
Allegra gel caps. Not just fast. Allegra fast. Guaranteed or your money back.
If you've been injured in an accident, remember, the insurance adjuster works for the insurance company, and they want to pay you as little as possible. Call Goldberg & Osborne immediately after any accident. We'll make sure you get all the money you're entitled to.
And welcome back to Politics Unplugged. Tonight's hot topic, a measles outbreak here in Arizona has public officials on alert. And joining us tonight is Dr. Cara Christ, the director of the Arizona State Department of Health Services. I want to thank you for joining us. So tell us, just give us a sense of the size, the scope of this outbreak right now in Arizona.
So right now we're currently at 13 confirmed cases in Arizona. We consider one case a measles outbreak because we don't expect to see measles anymore in the United States. So one case is an outbreak. To give a perspective, with the Disneyland outbreak, we had 7 in Arizona.
So why, if you don't expect to see this outbreak again, and you say there's an outbreak if it's just one case, why are we seeing it?
So we eradicated measles back in the 1990s, but there are still pockets of measles being transmitted around the world. So somebody gets on a plane, they don't know that they've been infected, they're not vaccinated, they bring it back into their community.
So, and what kind of challenges does Arizona face here when you start talking about combating this disease?
Well, the problem with measles is that it is one of the most contagious diseases we have. So you can walk into a room 2 hours after somebody with measles was in the room, and you will get it just by breathing the air if you are unvaccinated. 9 out of 10 unvaccinated people will come down with measles.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, like, let's talk about vaccination here real quick. I mean, you've seen a lot in the media that there are a lot of people, a lot of parents who do not believe in vaccination. Is this contributing to some of these outbreaks like this?
Absolutely. So our declining immunization rate in the United States is contributing to some of these measles outbreaks. And so if we get into a community that has a low immunization rate, it's going to allow measles to spread.
Yeah, and do you guys keep track of that, of kids who do get their shots per se, and those who don't? I mean, give us a sense of what that's looking like right now.
Right. So you can go onto our website. It's azhealth.gov, and we do post area maps that show the rates of immunizations in those areas. You can also check your child's school, because that's where they spend a lot of their time, to see what the immunization rates are at those schools as well.
Excellent. And tell us too a little bit, for a lot of people who aren't familiar, I'm not familiar with measles, what are some of the signs to look for your child, for yourself?
Absolutely. So measles will start just like the common cold, common flu. You may have a runny nose, red watery eyes, sore throat, cough, little bit of a fever. About 3 to 5 days afterwards, you're going to develop a rash that's going to start at your hairline and move down, and you'll get a very high fever, 104 and 105. Problem with measles is you're contagious 4 days before that rash onset, so you may be out in public, and that's what has happened. We've had people out in the public exposing people at restaurants, supermarkets, casinos.
And what kinds of ways, I mean, besides getting your vaccination shots, what kinds of ways can Arizonans protect their kids, protect themselves from contracting this?
So vaccine is really the best preventive measure that we have. So making sure that you're fully vaccinated, you're immune if you have 2 measles doses on board, or if you were born before 1957 and have a measles dose, we consider you immune. Other than that, it's really, if you've got a child that has a medical condition that doesn't allow them to be vaccinated, making sure that if you know that there's potential exposure in your community, watching for signs and symptoms. Most important thing is to call. If you believe you have measles, call your healthcare provider before going, so you don't actually expose some of those that may be medically at risk.
You know, how many more cases do we expect to see as this moves forward, or do you think the state's got a pretty good handle on this right now?
Well, right now we're waiting. So our last public exposure was last weekend. So it takes about 7 to 14 days before we're going to see new cases. So this weekend and the following days will give us the best view, but we do anticipate seeing more cases from this.
All right, now I want to kind of move to a little bit of a different topic, because the last time I talked to you, we talked a little bit about the Zika virus.
Yes.
Now, give us an update on that, because I know that a lot of people are very concerned about that. It's still out there, still making headlines. Are we seeing these cases here in Arizona? Give us a sense of what's going on.
So we've had 4 travel-associated cases of Zika in Arizona. All of these had traveled to regions that Zika is currently being transmitted. Our mosquitoes in Arizona do not have Zika, but what we're trying to do is prevent people from bringing it back from those countries and getting it into our mosquito population.
And this, can this be deadly? I mean, I've seen some reports here. We saw a baby in New Jersey that was born with some Zika-related issues.
So we have found that there are birth defects associated with Zika for moms who get pregnant or who get infected while they're pregnant. It doesn't have terrible effects for adults who don't have underlying medical conditions. 80% of people are going to be asymptomatic or have such mild symptoms they're not going to know they're infected.
And what should people be, again, like measles, what should they be looking out for to know that maybe they're at risk of being exposed to this virus?
So really right now the risk is if you have traveled to one of the countries that has Zika circulating, you want to make sure you're not being bitten by mosquitoes. A week after you are bitten by a mosquito in one of those countries, you may develop joint pain, red eyes, headache, and a rash. But again, only 1 out of 5 people is going to develop symptoms for Zika.
And so what are some, give us like the top 3 maybe hot spots that people, if they're traveling there, maybe should know to be on the lookout for this and try to protect themselves against mosquito bites as much as that's possible?
So it's really, where we're watching it is South America, Central America, and the Caribbean, and places like Puerto Rico and Cuba. So if you're going to any of those areas, you can go to cdc.gov and they have a map of every single affected country.
And we're going to have a lot of people going down maybe for the Olympics this summer.
Right.
What do you suggest for people traveling down there? What kind of precautions can they be taking?
It's our recommendation that pregnant women do not travel to a Zika-affected country. If you do have to travel, or to travelers in general, make sure that you bring mosquito repellent, that you have long sleeves, long pants, and that you're sleeping in an air-conditioned or screened-in area or using mosquito nets. And then it's really important when you return to use mosquito repellent and avoid being bitten here for 3 weeks after you return to avoid infecting our mosquitoes.
All right, thank you very much. But we're going to have to take another break here, and we'll be back soon. But we still have lots more to talk about here on Politics Unplugged, including a closer look at Donald Trump and the free press.
It was supposed to be a chance for Donald Trump to salute the nation's veterans and highlight the $5.6 million he raised for their causes.
This is my check for $1 million.
Trump ticked off more than 40 groups he claims are receiving donations, but clearly furious after months of questions about exactly where the money is going. Trump engaged in some combat of his own.
You know my opinion of the media, it's very low. Instead of being like, thank you very much, Mr. Trump, or Trump did a good job, everyone's saying, who got it, who got it, who got it? And you make me look very bad.
His opponents, reporters covering his campaign.
Follow up on that. You keep calling us the dishonest press. It seems as though you're resistant to scrutiny, the kind of scrutiny that comes with running for president of the United States.
I like scrutiny, but you know what? When I raise money, excuse me, I've watched you on television. You're a real beauty. What I don't want is when I raise millions of dollars, have people say, like this sleazy guy right over here from ABC. He's a sleaze in my book.
And if you think this is just campaign fodder, think again. Trump told reporters his style isn't about to change, even at White House news conferences.
It is going to be like this, David. If the press writes false stories, like they did with this.
More Politics Unplugged, straight ahead.